From ancient mystics to modern quantum physics, humans have wondered if our thoughts can influence the cosmos. Today we'll explore fascinating scientific evidence and theories about the connection between human consciousness and the fabric of space itself. Ancient cultures had some amazing ideas about how our minds connect to the universe. In Egypt, priests believed their thoughts could reach the stars through meditation. The Greeks, especially Plato, taught that human consciousness was a spark of the cosmic mind that created everything. In India, ancient texts called the Upanishads described consciousness as the building block of reality. They said our awareness and the universe were made of the same stuff. Chinese Taoists saw human thoughts as tiny waves in a vast ocean of cosmic energy. Native American shamans practiced vision quests, believing their minds could tap into nature's wisdom. These weren't just random ideas. They shaped how entire civilizations lived and understood their place in the cosmos. While we might see things differently today, these ancient views laid the groundwork for how we think about consciousness and its role in the universe. Now let's explore something mind-bending: quantum entanglement and its possible connection to consciousness. When two particles become entangled, they stay connected no matter how far apart they are. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Some scientists wonder if the billions of neurons in our brains might experience similar quantum effects. Researchers like Roger Penrose suggest that consciousness itself might work through quantum processes in our brain cells. While we can't say for sure that our thoughts are quantum entangled with the universe, we're finding more evidence that consciousness and quantum physics might be linked. Experiments show that quantum particles seem to act differently when someone observes them, as if our attention somehow affects their behavior. It's a fascinating possibility that our minds might be more connected to the fabric of reality than we once thought. The double-slit experiment might be the most mind-blowing demonstration of how consciousness affects reality. Here's how it works. Scientists shoot particles or light waves through two slits in a barrier. When nobody's watching, the particles create an interference pattern like ripples in a pond. But when scientists observe which slit the particles go through, they behave completely differently, like tiny bullets hitting specific spots. It's as if the particles know they're being watched. This isn't just some weird lab trick. It's been repeated thousands of times since the 1920s. The experiment suggests that reality itself changes based on whether someone's observing it. Even weirder, the same thing happens if we measure the particles with machines but don't look at the results. This raises huge questions about the role of consciousness in shaping the physical world. Let's look at some fascinating research about how group meditation might affect the world around us. Scientists have conducted studies where large groups of people meditate together, and the results are surprising. Research from Princeton University's Global Consciousness Project found unusual patterns in random number generators during worldwide events that captured millions of people's attention. In 1993, a study in Washington, D.C. showed that crime rates dropped by 23% when thousands meditated together. Other studies have measured changes in brainwaves when groups meditate, showing synchronized patterns among participants. While skeptics point out we need more research to fully understand these effects, the data suggests something interesting happens when many minds focus together. These findings make us wonder about the bigger picture. Could our collective thoughts create ripples in the fabric of reality? Let's dive into one of the most interesting scientific projects studying how human consciousness might affect the world around us. The Global Consciousness Project at Princeton University uses special devices called random number generators placed all over Earth. These machines are like electronic coin flippers, creating endless streams of random numbers. But here's where it gets fascinating. When major world events happen that grab everyone's attention, like the 9/11 attacks or natural disasters, these random patterns become less random. The numbers start showing unusual patterns that shouldn't happen by chance. The project has collected over 20 years of data, suggesting that when millions of people focus on the same thing, it creates a measurable effect on these machines. While we can't say exactly how this works, it hints at a possible connection between human consciousness and the physical world. The Schumann resonance is like Earth's natural radio signal, a steady pulse of electromagnetic waves bouncing between the ground and our atmosphere at about 7.83 Hz. What's really cool is that this frequency is very close to the alpha waves our brains produce during meditation and relaxation. Scientists have found that this Earth frequency affects our bodies in surprising ways. When astronauts first went to space, they felt sick because they were away from this natural rhythm. NASA now puts Schumann resonance generators in spacecraft to keep astronauts healthy. Some researchers think major shifts in human consciousness might actually change this planetary frequency. During big global events, they've measured unusual spikes in the Schumann resonance. While we're still learning about this connection, it suggests an interesting link between our minds and Earth's electromagnetic field. Let's explore one of space's biggest mysteries, dark matter, and its possible connection to consciousness. Scientists know that about 85% of the universe's mass is invisible to our instruments. We can see its effects on galaxies and light, but we can't detect it directly. Some researchers are exploring a wild idea. What if consciousness and dark matter are connected? They suggest that the invisible force holding our thoughts together might be similar to the invisible force holding galaxies together. Think about it. Both consciousness and dark matter are everywhere, affect physical matter, but can't be directly measured. While this is still just a theory, it shows how studying consciousness might help us understand the universe's biggest puzzles. Recent experiments using quantum sensors are trying to detect if our thoughts create tiny gravitational effects, similar to how dark matter affects space. Let's explore how our minds might actually shape the space and time around us. Einstein showed us that space and time aren't fixed, they can bend and stretch. Some scientists now think our consciousness might do something similar on a tiny scale. When we focus intensely on something, we might create small distortions in the space-time fabric around us. Recent experiments using supersensitive equipment have tried measuring these effects. While the results aren't conclusive yet, they've found hints that strong mental focus might create measurable changes in nearby quantum fields. This connects to Einstein's ideas about observation affecting reality. Think about how time seems to slow down during intense moments. Could our minds actually be bending time? Some physicists suggest our thoughts might create tiny gravitational effects, similar to how massive objects curve space-time. Let's explore one of the most fascinating ideas in physics, how simply looking at something might change it. The observer effect shows that we can't measure anything without affecting it somehow. When scientists look at tiny particles, the very act of observing them changes their behavior. It's like trying to check if your refrigerator light is really off when the door is closed. Opening the door changes what you're trying to observe. This isn't just about tools interfering with measurements. Some experiments suggest that consciousness itself might play a role. For example, in quantum physics, particles exist in multiple states until someone measures them. This has led some scientists to wonder if our conscious observation helps create the reality we see. While we can't say we're literally creating the universe by looking at it, these findings show that the relationship between mind and matter might be more complex than we thought. Imagine if we could develop ways to intentionally connect our thoughts with the cosmos. Scientists are already working on brain-computer interfaces that let us control machines with our minds. The next step might be devices that detect and amplify consciousness-related quantum effects. This could lead to new forms of space exploration, where astronauts use their minds to navigate or communicate across vast distances. Some researchers are developing quantum computers that might pick up on these subtle mental signals. We might even create networks of consciousness-sensitive satellites to detect collective human thoughts and emotions on a global scale. While this sounds like science fiction, remember that many of today's technologies would have seemed impossible a century ago. As we better understand the connection between consciousness and quantum physics, we might unlock new ways to interact with the universe itself. Thanks for joining us on this mind-bending journey through consciousness and cosmos. There's still so much to discover about how our thoughts connect to the universe. If you enjoyed exploring these ideas, hit like, subscribe, and share with a friend who loves space mysteries.